Well, we're getting ready to begin. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chris Brown, your state senator, and I want to welcome you to another afternoon where we discuss what's going on in Atlantic County, particularly trying to provide information for our families here as to what specifically is affecting us here in our county. We know there's a lot of information throughout the state, but learning about Atlantic County in particular is my goal and what the intent of this is. Right now, as you know, if there's anyone that you believe would benefit from the information, particularly today, we're dealing with veterans. We're also going to be talking about unemployment benefits, our seniors, and working families in general. So if there's anyone that you believe would benefit, please feel free to share this now. You just press the button and others will be able to see it as well. I also want to thank Scott Cronick and AC Mike Lopez from WOND who have been replaying these conversations on their shows. Thank you, WOND, for being live and local. In our office, you know, we are working so hard for everyone with unemployment benefits, trying to make sure that they're able to receive them and to know that they're cared for, because when you call unemployment, you just get hung up on or nobody responds. Here we respond, and we're able to do that through the great help of volunteers that we trained up on unemployment issues through the Department of Labor. And I have to give a thank you to Summers Point Councilman Jim Toto. He's been phenomenal. Carol Monday, she's here constantly just trying to help people. And John Farinelli, a young man who's got a real bright future, who is also here. If anybody would like to help out their fellow Atlantic County residents, please give us a call, 609-677-8266. Well, this afternoon, we're fortunate. We're going to have a conversation with my guest, Atlantic County Veterans Service Officer Bob Frolow. He will be discussing the impact of the pandemic on our veterans and what services are there to help them, which also bleeds into services for our seniors as well. So, Bob, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. And how are you doing?
I'm fine, Senator. Considering the conditions, it's survival. So I guess that's the best you can do. But thank God, no problems at all.
Well, that is great. And one of the things I would like others to learn about a little bit, in as much detail as you feel comfortable. Obviously, you are a veteran. You're a combat veteran. You served this great country during the Vietnam War. You're one of our leaders of our community, an example of so many of our Vietnam veterans who went away, fought, and came back to a country that was confused and misguided, intended to take out their political angst against these young soldiers who were there just serving their country. And when did and how did you join the Army, Bob?
Well, I could promise you one, it wasn't voluntary.
So you were drafted. Uncle Sam sent you a card.
I was actually drafted late. I think I was 23. I was going to night school at St. Joe's, and all was well. Draft notice came, and I was the first one to say, I'm going to go to Canada or Mexico. I'm not doing this.
Did you have long hair, and did you smoke a lot of reefer?
Well, non-committal.
That's right. All right, so we're painting a picture. You're a young man who is going to night school at St. Joe's. You have no intention of joining the military, and you would joke that at that point in your life you were going to go to Canada. Is that fair?
Or anywhere where, yes, anywhere to survive.
So what happened?
Well, we got drafted. I had to go to Fort Dix. I went through all the training, all the weapons, and whatever you want to call it. And I was called in for interview for warrant officer flight training because I had college. So I thought, well, how nice. And then we went to the interview, and at the end of the interview, the officer that was there for the day said to me, well, you do two 6-month tours. I said, well, explain that a little better. He says, you go, you'll serve 6, you come home 30 days, you have to go back again. I said, well, let me just make sure I'm clear. I'm going to come home and have to go back. He says, yes, sir. I said, well, then I'll pass. I'd rather not do that. Once I'm home, I want to stay home. So obviously, see you later. I then got called into NCO school. And the same interview, same results. You go, you serve your 6 months. You'll come home for 30 days and go back again. So that's all. Thank you very much. That's not me. So what's your next move? You have no choice. You're in the Army, and you're going to go into infantry. Okay.
So if I understand it, you passed up an opportunity to fly. You passed up an opportunity to go to NCO school, and you found yourself in the infantry during the Vietnam War.
Yes.
Yeah, you're guiding a heck of a career so far. How does it go from there?
Well, what scares me, I figured if I'm coming home for 30 days, do I want to go back to Vietnam again? No. So I figured let's get out of this right now, otherwise it could be jail. So now drafted 9th Infantry Division in Dong Tam. I get over there and I get off and pick up my orders, and as I get in, the guys are looking at me like, who do you know, man? You are lucky. And I'm like, lucky? Vietnam, I'm here with you.
Vietnam in the infantry.
Now, infantry, yeah. But now I'm assigned to ACV unit. And these guys, they're like, well, you never heard of it? I said, no. He said, well, it's air cushion vehicle, which in the Army is mechanized infantry. It was hovercraft. It was a hand-picked unit. It was only 3 boats in country. And I wound up there because of my training with all the weapons. And I tell you what, God bless America. I couldn't have asked for anything any better. A great unit, great guys. And I'll tell anybody, if I could go with the same guys, I'd go back tomorrow.
It's the camaraderie, isn't it? It's those friendships that you make in such a stressful situation that really your mind goes to. It's funny, right, how our minds find positive things to reflect upon in a very difficult situation.
It's, the best of both worlds. I got good training, met great guys, and more than that, I made it home.
Yeah.
So that's, again, thank God for that.
And
but good experience, and I had a lot to do with my interview to get this job because I had that military background.
Oh, of course.
I think anyway. It's thank God to Denny Levinson, Jerry Del Rosso through the interviews, which was significant. But there was like 40-some people that were interviewed, and they chose me probably because I'm familiar with the area, born and raised here. Again, my military background. And then I was a little aggressive to kind of learn for myself as well. And it's been a great marriage. I'm here 18 years now, and the time went just unbelievably fast. And again, I have to thank my sister because I was corporate risk manager for Showboat. And my hurrah was right here in Atlantic City. Good timing, great timing. Unfortunately, their corporate background kind of got a little messed up, and some guys got fired or took other jobs. And the boss that I wound up with was not one I wanted to work with. So again, my sister said, "Well, why are you going here? Why don't you go do something like through the county or state or something where you can use your military background?"
Well, I will tell you what, Bob. What I know and I've watched firsthand. You love your country, you love veterans, and you love serving. And those 3 are invaluable to you and your role. And so on behalf of veterans and everyone, we thank you for your love of country and your sense of duty. And so now today we're here to talk a little bit or a lot, depending on your answers, how long it goes. About the pandemic, how it's affected our veterans and the opportunities that they have. And one of the things that recently we missed the opportunity was with Memorial Day to honor our men and women who paid the ultimate sacrifice in their families. I know if our friend John Palmy and Terry were still with us, he would have found a way to have his service in Atlantic City. What did you do? What did we do? What can people do, even though it's past, to let our veterans know, and in particular families of those who have given the ultimate sacrifice, that they care?
I'm glad you asked that. I don't know if you're aware or not, but Vince Kane is the director of the Wilmington VA Hospital. He and some other members of the staff had gotten a hold of Cynthia Murray, who's the manager or lead nurse at our local Northfield clinic. To get ready for the COVID, we got volunteers that were given to us through the VA at our Meadowview nursing home.
You say given to you, so these volunteers were GIs. They were they're government issue.
Government issue, yes, and trust me, good timing, because we had some issues in Meadowview and another nursing home. I think it's Preferred Care in Assecan. Again, VA volunteers coming from all around the country, not local. And Cynthia called me up the Thursday before Memorial Day at night and asked if I could do her a favor, just to say thank you to the staff at the Meadowview, whatever. And I'm thinking, oh my God, it's like Memorial Day is 3 days away. So made some phone calls, and I figured, all right, let me call the one guy who could jump on this and make it happen. So I got Marco Polo.
Marco Polo, he is the best.
Yeah, like we don't have a lot of time, but let's get started. So he went down and talked to Mayor Chow here in Northfield to get us equipment, fire engines, police, various ambulance, whatever it might be. And he said, absolutely, let me know what you need. You got it. So we got Ellen Rush to start making calls to people, friends that we know, to get their cars, come out with balloons, put signs in your window.
I just want people to know Ellen Rush is the widow of John Rush, one of our great patriots here from Atlantic County, a young Marine. I don't know if he was 5'3", but he was one of the toughest.
At his best, yeah.
At his best. And what a great guy. And boy, you talk again, you're mentioning some names from Marco Polo to John Rush, and of course his wife, and you have Charlie over in Summers Point. Just so many great families surrounding our veterans and in our community. So I apologize. Please go ahead.
So anyway, we're trying to get ideas how we're going to do this, and Ellen volunteered. I'll make some phone calls, no problem. Next on the list of anything we do, and we always have this group involved in our parades in Summers Point, which the mayor thought not a good idea to do because we're in the middle of the COVID crisis and people would be out exposed. So let's postpone that till next year. Okay, fine. But in the meantime, now what are we going to do? So I called up Mike Merlino, who was the head of the Legion Riders, the motorcycle group, and he said, "That's great. We would love to."
How and Bob, again, you mentioned Mike Merlino, and there's somebody who has done a radio show for years now called Veterans Matter, somebody who has dedicated so much of his life to helping veterans. And then when you talk about the Legion Riders, what a phenomenal group of great Americans. They have a mixture of veterans and all of them just so civic minded. They just love their country. They want to support any way they can, and they do the funerals. And there enough good things can't be said about the Legion Riders. They are part of the fabric that holds this community together. And my hats are off to them and all they do. And one of my favorites was when John Palmy and Terry said he took his hat off to the motorcycle gang. And it was amusing coming from Mr. Palmy and Terry, but the reality is, what a great group of Americans, plain and simple.
Absolutely, yes. But now here we are. The amazing thing, you know how they are. They just show up, and they're there to do whatever you need them to do. Okay. Now, uh, we got approval to do a motorcade, thanks to Denny Levinson, county executive, Jerry Del Rosso, the county administrator. Both said, "God bless you. You use the county property here. That's perfectly okay." So we agreed to have the formations here at my building in Stillwater, the county building. So we come here in the morning. People are showing up with the cars, decorating them in the parking lot. Fire trucks show up. The ambulance here. The police, even on a motorcycle, we had a policeman doing that. And now here comes the riders down the street. And I'm looking, oh, thank God you're here. We can start. Now, I'm looking for typically 20 motorcycles. Senator, they had 96 motorcycles.
Isn't that great?
And the idea was to just go down this street, circle Meadowview Nursing Home, say thank you to the patients in there, to the volunteers that are working for helping our staff, because they are overworked, especially going through this crisis. And I'll tell you what, it's one of the better veteran programs I ever got involved in. And such short notice, the turnout, everybody was fabulous.
Isn't that
We
great?
didn't have a lot of veterans join us that day, but again, they had family responsibilities to take care of, or some of them were ill, but they all had their own thing. But in spite of that, one of the most successful veteran programs I was ever involved in. And it's to say thanks to you, to Denny, to everybody, because here's the opportunity. We're trying to help them all.
Well, here's what's awesome about that, Bob, is the community, from the Legion Riders to the local government to everybody who lives and breathes and works here in Atlantic County. Everybody gets it. They appreciate you, and they appreciate the Legion Riders and our local VFWs. And they came together and they made a nice special gesture, not just to our veterans, but also to the staff who's looking out for them. And that leads me to this. Overall, how would you say the shutdown has affected Atlantic County veterans? What types of issues are you seeing as our County Veteran Service Office as a result of the pandemic?
Well, there's a couple key issues that we might not have seen yet, which is not surprising. One of the requirements of for the COVID was to stay home. Makes sense, exposure's out in the area. To stay home, be safe, quarantine if you have to. But a lot of these veterans are having issues already with psychological problems, PTSD and whatever. Now, being home for a couple hours, okay, not a problem. But now you're there a couple days, and where can you go? You can't just go over to the clinic and see a counselor because you can't get into the building because of the crisis. They're screening people at the front door, which, hey, thank God, have to do that. And they're doing telehealth still. But if you're having issues, you can't just go over, expect to see a counselor, and, maybe makes you feel better. The vet center is also available, always. They had screening too, which kind of, it just gives me concerns that these guys had nothing to do.
Well, let me ask you this question. So for our veterans who are listening, or their family members who may be listening, a few weeks ago, I had a conversation with Jewish Family Service on the stay-home order and its impact on mental health. Are counseling services still available for our veterans? And if so, how should they receive them? And I'm going to put this information up on our Facebook post as well.
It's at the time, you do it because it's a health concern. But also, if you're having issues, a lot of these guys are, that's something we have to deal with every day, and gratefully so.
And what number should they call?
If the vet center is 487-8387.
609.
609. That's the new office over on. It's right at the corner of the Black Horse Pike and where the new Macy's, not Macy's, Walmart is.
And it's 609-487
8387.
8387. And that's for any veteran who has any issue, particularly during this pandemic, to call, and you will be directed in the right spot. And Bob and his staff will do everything they can to help you. All right, thank you. Please go ahead.
And also, those that are enrolled in the VA health system, who ordinarily would be going to the clinic, can call and try and speak with their psychologist, psychiatrist, whoever, to see if they can set up either a teleconference or whatever it might be.
And
is that there?
And is that the same phone number?
The clinic, no, they have to use the 800 and then just ask for their doctor.
Would you happen to know what the 800 number is? I know we have it here, but I don't have it in front of me. Would you happen to know?
It's 1-800-461-8262.
So for any veteran that is already going through the VA health system who needs assistance, you can call 1-800-461-8262 and ask for your medical provider, whoever that may be, and you'll be able to do telemedicine. And now that a lot of the restrictions are being lifted, you can schedule an appointment. So I thank you, Bob. Those are two important phone numbers for our veterans.
Well, with that 800 number, you have to dial extension 2800 to get through on that switchboard, because this is through the hospital in Wilmington.
Sure. So let me repeat. It's 1-800-461-8262, extension 2800, and we're going to put the proper numbers up in the comments section of this video. So if you didn't pick it up now, it will be there for you in the future. And those two numbers are for veterans to get the help and assistance that they might need during this time that we're all trying to deal with. You know, Bob, one of the things that our Atlantic County families are very grateful for is we have our county veterans cemetery where our loved ones who serve this great country can rest, and their families can go and honor them. I know there were some restrictions, but how are we doing now? I know they're working with Senator Testa a while back. We put an end to this nonsense where you couldn't stand, you know, the immediate family couldn't be at the graveside. How much further have we gotten along?
We're doing that daily now. It's the staff out there is going out of their way. Again, county executive bent over backwards to see what he could do. The construction going on out there now, if you haven't seen it, it's a little nasty looking. But when they're finished, they're going to put new roads in, paved. They're considering a columbarium for the cremation remains. Well, we don't have one yet, but it's a good idea because it doesn't take up the plots for those who want to be cremated. They go in the combine, and they can remove the ashes if they want, which is, you know, for families and holidays and all. It's a great idea. But the construction and what's going out there now, when it's finished, the place has always been gorgeous for people out there. I've never heard anybody say anything bad about it. But this is going to be tremendous when they're done. Plus, they're adding more space for plots because it's a high water area out there, so we can't go too far down into the ground, which limits the amount of plots that are available. But when this new construction's finished, it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. And again, the staff out there go out of their way to help you out, answer any questions, straighten out any confusion, and it's bless them all because they have long hours out there, believe me.
Well, one of the frustrating things about the way the governor and the administration have gone about handling the coronavirus and issuing executive order after executive order is that a lot of the times it just doesn't make any sense. For example, they had an order you could ride your bike on the boardwalk and you won't get coronavirus. But if you walk on the boardwalk, you will. You can stand on the beach and you won't get coronavirus, but if you go in the ocean, you will get coronavirus. You can stand at a rally and protest and yell and scream, and you won't get coronavirus. But if you try to go to church, you will get coronavirus. And
Right,
one of the
right,
things that I've been fighting against is the nonsensical, non scientific, non medical based decrees that seem to be more caught up in frustrating people than actually getting us back to normal. And one of them was initially the governor's office allowed certain restaurants and bars, they could do outside service. But if you were a privately owned location, like a Veterans, VFW, or AMVETS, or American Legion, or even the Log Cabin in Margate, you would get coronavirus. So you couldn't. Then they added a $75 fee. So apparently, you will get coronavirus if you don't pay the $75 fee. But if you can pay a $75 fee, open your business, and nobody will get coronavirus. I mean,
yeah,
what frustrates people more than anything is directions and orders that don't make any sense. And one of them was the inability for AMVETs and VFWs, American Legions, to do outdoor service along with everybody else. Since the stay home order has lifted, are our veterans posts getting back to normal?
I would say, so to speak, yes. Now ours is the American Legion in Summers Point,
Yes.
and in support of what you're saying, I sent a letter to the governor just saying that we the only ones come into our clubs are members and guests of. We're not open to the public. So what we do, we have property. We're going to do fundraisers for families with issues, whether it be service, whatever it might be. So the exposure is minimal at worst. And is there any reason why we can't open then? This is maybe about almost a month ago. I sent that in, no response. It's just very frustrating that we're not a restaurant. What's to put tables out on the sidewalk? But we want to at least be a place for the veteran to go that's having issues, whether it be psychological or whatever it might be, just to be with fellow veterans or families, a place you can go and relax and escape, so to speak. But again, never got a response. And ironically, about a month later, here comes the grant to open the member clubs. There's restrictions still, but at least it's a place to go now for a lot of guys. And I think hopefully it's going to last. Now, we don't know if it's not going to be a spike to this COVID thing. I hope not. But it's anything's possible, because I'll ask you, do I have to wear a mask?
Well, it depends what time of the week it is and
Yeah.
who's making the rules. I can tell you this, that the most important thing to me from the beginning has been follow the science and follow the data, which is why I have been in constant contact with the CEO of Atlantic Care, both in Atlantic City and in Galloway, as well as Shore Memorial. And they have assured me for over a month now that we are prepared. We have enough beds. We have enough ICU beds. We have enough ventilators. We have enough doctors and nurses. We have enough PPE that if there were a spike or an uptick, we would be prepared. We have enough tracing capabilities to go back and tamp it down. And so, knowing that, that's why it was important to me that once I knew that our medical community is telling us the science and the data support us being able to start opening and to do things smartly, and to have an administration that continued to just lump us in with North Jersey, both economically. I mean, you and I both know how important this summer season is for our restaurants, our businesses, our industry. It makes or breaks us for the year. And on top of that, with God's blessing, we have been affected one small percentage of what North Jersey has been affected. And yet this administration has lumped us all together and just makes these broad decrees, which often, as we talked about, don't make sense. So it is rewarding knowing you have people like Fred Vineyard with AMVETS who work so hard. I mean, boy, there's a fellow who wakes up in the morning, spends the day, and goes to sleep at night thinking about veterans. Charlie Callahan over there with you in Summers Point, the VFW, Marco Paul. The list is so long. Captain Rick out of Brigantine. There are so many great veterans who want to help our community and serve, and to allow them to just open up and have their members come in. You can check their temperature at the door. There's so many different measures you can take. You could social distance and still have a conversation and wear a mask. So it is good from my perspective to hear you let us know that our VFWs, our American Legions, our posts are getting back to normal. So that is good news.
Well, one thing, you're a member of our post. So
yes, I am.
I mean, there's nothing really aggressive there.
No.
It's just a place to go for a lot of reasons. And it's, I don't know, it seemed a little bit harsh. But then again, we haven't had this before, so we're kind of reacting just to see what the responses might be. So we have 1 foot in. I guess that we'll get the full opening approval probably in another couple of weeks, then we'll be back to normal. So,
which is great.
Fingers crossed.
One of the things
you mentioned a good thing.
Yeah.
Freddie Vineyard. By the way, Freddie Vineyard is our answer, or Atlantic County's answer to Luciano Pavarotti. If you take a good look, he ought to start singing. He does more work, and
yes,
as you mentioned, the AMVETS now has the state post here on Shore Road in Summers Point, 415 Shore Road. And again, they're going to do interviews, counseling, services for veterans, whatever they could do. And in that group as well is the submariners, the submarine veterans.
Yeah, they have a beautiful memorial, and that's Tom Innocente, I know, is one of the leaders there. Tom is a best retired state trooper who lives in Summers Point with Helen and a great family. And I know how hard. He's just another example. We could go on all day just talking about all these great veterans who dedicate their time, money, and energy for their community. And I have a particular spot in my heart for our Vietnam veterans because I was lucky when I came home. They had parades and flags, and you could feel love, and it was important, and I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. But it really emphasizes in my mind, so many of these Vietnam veterans who got off the plane and they went into the airport and they were told you better change out of your uniform because there may be protests against you. And then you watch how they persevered, how they came back, they assimilated into society, they got their jobs. Now they've been the coaches of the Little Leagues and the other events and communities. There are leaders. And there are people like you, Bob, who love our country, who love our way of life, and who just want it to be good for everybody. I can't say enough for our Vietnam veterans and what they went through and how much they are loved. And I know this to you, Bob, and every other Vietnam veteran would just say thank you and welcome home. One of the things we've been able to pass, and I think this is important that our veterans are aware of it in case they aren't, was the veterans deduction of $3,000 from their income taxes. And right now, as it stands, spouses may only receive this benefit if the spouse passes in the tax year they're claiming. And right now, they're not eligible as a surviving spouse in subsequent years. Right now, there is a law that I am working very hard on and working to move through S717 to change that. And it certainly seems to me that the spouse of that veteran who served in combat and served his country should be entitled in their golden years to the same deduction. And is that something you would agree with, Bob?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Well, let me ask you, is there anything else you would like to share with our veterans and their families here in Atlantic County?
Let me see. There's also a lot of questions that if you can't get an answer, just don't give up. I know if I can't answer you, the New Jersey Department of Military Veterans Affairs in Atlantic City, in the I guess it's right on the pike there.
What's their phone number, Bob?
Alicia Kagan she's the director there. She's very thorough. You can try them. There's a lot that goes on there because they're state offices.
What's their phone number, Bob? Do you know?
She's at 609-441-3060.
And what is the name of the service?
It's the New Jersey Department of Military and Veterans Affairs.
Oh. And so if you have a veterans, have another outlet to call, and that's New Jersey Department of Veterans Affairs. And the phone number is 609-441-3060. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And Alicia Keegan is the person who is heading it up.
Right, she's the service officer.
Well, that's great information too. We're going to post it in the comments section for veterans and their families.
And here we have, again, the county office. It's myself, Steve Walicki, who's rehabbing right now, and the hospital's been out for a while, and Maria Canusio. So it's whatever we can do to help veterans. Obviously, pick up the phone. You can't physically get in the offices right now because of the crisis, but we're available by phone or paperwork dropped off at our front door.
We've given that number, have we not yet, Bob?
I think we did, but let's never hurts to do it again.
True.
It's 609-677-5700.
Okay, and that is the Atlantic County Office of Veteran Affairs.
Yes, sir.
Well, that is phenomenal. If anybody needs help, that's just one more avenue, 609-677-5700, the Atlantic County Office of Veterans Affairs. And that too will be posted in the comments section for our veterans and for their families, particularly during this challenging time, to say the least. Well, I tell you, what was your rank when you were discharged, Bob?
I was a Spec 4.
Spec 4.
Spec 4. And again, the boats we were on, beautiful. We had more firepower on there, but an F-16 shell would go all the way through it. It was kind of fiberglass. But we had miniguns, we had 60s in the windows, 50 up top, 40 millimeter grenade launchers. We had everything on there.
Well, I know that myself and my family are blessed because of people like you who never handled a weapon in your life. And to protect our country, you look back fondly upon a time they stuck you on the boat in the middle of a jungle, and you were grateful to have 50 cows and high-powered weapons because they were enabling you not to die and to be able to kill the bad guys before they killed you. And you say it very matter-of-factly, but I think people need to really understand that heroes like yourself, Bob, are not born and bred for this. They're regular Americans who are trying to figure this life out here on this planet, and then they get pulled out and put in these horrific situations. And as Americans, as we always have, they rise to the occasion. It doesn't matter. The beauty is, it doesn't matter what color you are, what your nationality is. We're Americans, and we're fighting for each other and our country. And Bob, you exemplify that. And my hat's off and my thanks to you for your service to our country and your service to our county right now. You are a great American, and we're blessed to have you.
Can I give you a couple of like humorous points before we leave?
Oh, humor is always good. Yes. As long as it's clean humor. I don't need any of that filth,
Absolutely.
that army filth coming in here.
The good thing about my service there was because of the experience with weapons. I get over there. My MOS is, which again is something questionable, was 11 Delta 20, which is infantry intelligence.
Well, that's a contradiction in itself.
Yes, absolutely. So what do? That makes me a scout, a machine gunner, and the armorer of the unit had just left country, so they needed somebody to do that because of my experience with the weapons. Boom, now I'm the armorer. So getting into that the first month was always fun. Trust me, we were running in the trees and everything else, but great experience because I'm here to tell you about it.
Yes.
And another thing I'm going to do that you won't like, but it's just to let people know your aggressive nature and how you try and get things done. God rest his soul. I did a lot of work with your dad. And
I didn't know that.
He ran the beach patrol. This is when I was involved with the Around Island Swim.
Oh, okay.
Here we're doing an international swimming race, and we need lifeguard boats and guards to take us around. How the hell are we going to do that? Well, obviously, beach patrol. For the time we sat down and talked to your dad, had nothing to worry about. Boats were there, volunteers were there, whether they volunteered or not, they were there as volunteers. And I'll tell you what, that was one of the most successful events we've ever had in Atlantic City. Wasn't for your dad, could have never gotten done. You're in the same shoes, and thank God, with all of us, we have that aggressiveness to look forward to.
Yeah, I've been known to be aggressive at times, especially if somebody's messing with my Atlantic County families. It upsets me very deeply. But I want to thank you for the kind words about my dad, Arthur Brown, former chief of the Atlantic City Beach Patrol. I am blessed, and the best thing you can give your children is when somebody hears your name, they smile and they say, "Your dad helped me," or "Your dad was kind to me," "Your dad did something nice." Your family name is something that I've been very blessed from my dad, and I thank you for saying that, Bob. And I thank you for being with us. I thank you for your service, and I hope you have a blessed day.
Thank you, Senator. Appreciate that, and God bless you.
Yes, sir. All right, Bob. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Okay, we're just going to give a few updates. We know that the Unemployment Horror Show continues. We are here for you, 609-677-8266. Anyone who wants to volunteer and help us help others, we are open to it. I've mentioned some of the people who are helping us already. We've gone over, I'm going to repost in the comments section different information regarding phone calls, when you should start expecting to get your emails, remind you to make sure that you do answer your phone, remind you that when you call my office, we are still literally, we're over 1,500 or more cases right now, and they're growing, and you would think at some point it would level off, but unfortunately it's not. We're speaking with the Department of Labor on a regular basis, getting people back to work and getting people the benefits that they are entitled to. And what everybody needs to understand is people seeking unemployment right now want to work. They want to get back to work. They didn't want to get laid off, but they were compliant and they did what the government asked them to do, and they flattened the curve. Now they want to get back to work, and they definitely need to pay their mortgage, and they have to put food on the table. So we continue to pressure and push down on the Department of Labor for them to keep moving in the right direction, get their act together. Testing is still continuing in Atlantic County. We have places like Southern New Jersey Family Medical Centers, the county, Atlantic City, 2 CVS pharmacies. And what I'll do is in the comments section, I'm going to post all that information for you. As you know, we are in an election season. As my public service announcement to you, mail-in ballots have been sent out for the June 7th primary. This is something that personally I didn't agree with, that it had to be just by ballots. You can stand together and yell and scream at a rally. In fact, the governor shows up for the rally, doesn't wear a mask, shaking hands, bumping into people, and that's okay, but you can't stand in line to go vote or do it responsibly. And so that's the way it is right now. So it will be by mail. Um, Registered Republicans and Democrats will receive your mail-in ballot. Unaffiliated voters will receive a mail-in application. Of course, for an unaffiliated voter to participate in a primary, you have to pick a party. I'm going to lean you to the Republican Party, but whatever you choose, look, we just had a whole show with veterans. Makes this country great is the electoral process. Please do vote, and we all appreciate that. So we continue to try to make progress and push the governor on giving us some dates, particularly for our casino industry. We're talking about 27,000 direct jobs, another 25,000 indirect jobs. Atlantic County has 1 in 3 people unemployed right now. Getting this industry back open, letting people earn a living is really our fight, is what we're about. We want to do it responsibly. We want to do it smartly, but we keep pushing the governor to start announcing some of these dates. So in closing, I just want to tell you again how an honor it is for me to be able to do my best to make things a little better here in Atlantic County. I will continue to post all the information that I can. If you go on our webpage, we have the coronavirus site. It has all Atlantic County information, anything you may need. You call us. We're here, 609-677-8266. With God's blessing, we're all going to get through this, and we will be back to normal. Thank you and have a great day.